pleasant good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on the part of the world where you reside. It's my pleasure once again to welcome you to another YouTube presentation. As usual, we start off our presentation with a motivational word. And the motivational word is to deliberate carefully before acting hastily. So the motivational word for you, deliberate carefully before acting hastily. So ponder on the message and let it be a guide, because such a guide will certainly prevent you from experiencing a slide. So we know that you will pay due heed and follow the knowledge and wisdom embedded in that statement. As usual, we remind you of our ongoing courses. Our 4-week public speaking course costing $1,200 for students, $1,800 for the general public. Our 4-week emotional intelligence course costing $1,800 for the students and $2,500 for the general public. You can also partake in groups of 5 where you pay $7,500 and you benefit from a discount of $1,000 where you only pay $1,500 per head. And you can also partake in our 10-week course entitled The Fundamentals of Psychology. You can make one payment, 2 parts, 3 parts, or 4 parts, because we are committed in allowing you to participate in this course. You can also contribute via our YPL link on the description page. You can book a counseling or coaching appointment. And of course, you can buy our book Conversations, priced at $100 TT, $45 EC dollars, or 15 United States dollars. All you gotta do is give us a call at 1-868-778-5141, 1-868-779-2544, or email us at leadershipwithadifference@gmail.com. So we expect your call, we expect your email, and we will be on the ball to serve you to the best of our professional ability. So what I'm going to do for today's presentation, I'm going to talk on one of the divine principles of math that I mentioned in my last presentation. And the theme that we will use, drawing on that, is do not act hastily or angrily. As I said in the motivational word, deliberate carefully before acting hastily. Now, as human beings, we all have experienced the emotion of anger. Anger is a normal emotion, but how we respond and manage anger is where the qualitative difference will be made. So, as human beings, we will become angry, but often in life, demonstrating your anger always do not have a good outcome. So that is why I titled the presentation, Drawing on the Divine Principle, Do Not Act Hastily or Angrily. So, in other words, you got to deliberate carefully. You got to consider the unintended consequences. Because when anger gets the better of you, always remember that there are unintended consequences. But if you cannot draw back and dress back, as we say in local parlance, that anger certainly will get the better of you. Remember, we are designed in a way when anger becomes center stage, where our blood is directed to the extremities of our bodies, drawing on a statement from Dr. Daniel Coleman in his book Emotional Intelligence. And in that state, hype state, where both hormones are pouring out into our bloodstream and the activation of our sympathetic nervous system, increased heartbeat, respiration, etc., we are more likely to reach out for an object, and that object might be one that could build humanity. That object could be one that could cause a lot of destruction. So that is why, given that simple message conveyed there, you must always slow down and pull back rather than experiencing regret. Because when you lash out in anger and the person dies, oh, you cry. You didn't intend to kill, but you will have to face the consequences. If you are doing a job, all right, sometimes to diagnose the problem, you will need to take time. You need to test, retest, troubleshoot to zero in on the problem. If it's not a problem and you have to mobilize to do the job, you will have to take time and consider whether all resources are present. Do you have the time? Do you have the money, the equipment, and all the other stuff that you may need to do this job? If you experience a setback, should you lose faith? Should you become so annoyed that you are not finding the solution? So whatever we do in life, sometimes we want the results faster than the process will allow. To get to the point of results, it's a protest, it's a process. And in going through that process, there are twists and turns, because this is how life is designed. There are ups and downs, and those ups and downs, if we could stay the course, if we could remain steady, if we could avoid allowing our peace to be disturbed, if we can practice mindfulness, if we can practice meditation, and if we can consider what we are doing before we are doing it, that certainly will be an approach to avoid hasty actions. When actions are all driven by emotion, biologically, what is happening is that the executive center of the brain is being overtaken by the emotional center of the brain. I mean, admittedly, sensory information reaches the limbic system or the emotional center of the brain firstly. So in that regard, we are naturally primed to respond on an emotional level. However, this is why we have to pause a bit, breathe a bit, draw back a bit, to allow that two-way communication with the frontal cortex of the brain so that the thinking part can come in. So to engage in that thinking, we have to avoid being overcome with anger or even fear, because sometimes fear can make us act hastily. Sometimes anger can make us act atrociously. So to avoid unintended consequences, in keeping with that divine principle of math, at all times, do not act hastily or angrily, because the desired results certainly will not manifest. As we say, time is longer than twine. And if you can stay the course, most times you will be victorious. But anger or fear will stymie that forward motion. So my message to you, let it resonate and let it sink deeply in you. Remember to think deeply, reflect profusely, and to act wisely. I repeat, think deeply, consider unintended consequences, consider all that is required, reflect deeply before you make a decision, and most importantly, act wisely. And to do that, do not act hastily or angrily. I know the message resonated with you. I know you will follow this most pertinent advice and employ it in your daily lives, so I encourage you to so do. So, as usual, we ask you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment on the video, and share the video. We remind you to support our ongoing courses. We remind you to book a counseling and coaching appointment. We remind you to contribute via the YPA link on the description page, and to buy our book Conversations, price of 100 TT, 15 United States dollars, or 45 EC dollars. In the meantime, between time, stay tuned and experience another powerful presentation next time around. So bye for now.